Auto Parts.
Now, don't get bent out of shape when I advise taking pictures of your car that's bent out of shape in an accident. When accidents occur, emotions run high and details are overlooked, like traffic and road conditions. And those involved don't always see or remember the same thing. What's at stake? Who pays, of course. Keeping an inexpensive disposable camera in your car ready to capture the moment is no accident. One of these pictures could be worth 1,000 words, and a lot of dollars, too. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. A ragtop day is my favorite road trip tune. But before you put your convertible top down, you should know how to keep it up. When I come back, I'll give you the buzz.
O'Reilly.
If it's time to replace your vehicle's battery, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of our exclusive Do It Right rebate. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Roger Maharis did it on Route 66, and Jimmy Buffett perfected it on A1A. I'm talking about cruising with the top down, the perfect summer sport. For a major league convertible top, bathe it with car wash, never detergent. Use a soft cloth or sponge, except for plastic rear windows. They're so pliable that even a sponge will scratch. And save your elbow grease for your car. Waxing vinyl will dry it out. Instead, use a vinyl protectant. Now you're ready for championship cruising. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. There's that clicking noise again. If it sounds like Riverdance is performing under your hood, you could be in for some expensive repairs. I'll be back in a snap and tell you all about it.
O'Reilly.
If it's time to replace your vehicle's battery, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of our exclusive Do It Right rebate. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That click-click isn't Riverdance, but it could be a malfunctioning tappet. Like doors open and close, letting people into a club, tappets open and close, letting air into your engine's cylinders. To move efficiently, tappets use engine oil for lubrication, and there's the potential problem. Debris in contaminated oil not only causes tappets to click, it also piggybacks with the oil into all engine parts. Bottom line, expensive repairs. So before you hear your dollars clicking away, schedule oil changes regularly. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. What you don't see can't hurt you, right? Neighborly ghosts and friendly spirits aside, think again. What you can't see can kill you. When I come back, I'll tell you all about it.
O'Reilly.
If it's time to replace your vehicle's battery, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of our exclusive Do It Right rebate. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Conventional wisdom says ignorance is bliss. but colorless, odorless, and tasteless carbon gases, together with visible byproducts of pollution, harm health and environment. Enter Walbro Corporation's Smart Tank, the industry's first electronically managed fuel storage and delivery system. What this means to consumers and to citizens of planet Earth is harmful vapor collection and carbon vapor storage within the tank itself, while providing fuel pressure as demanded by your onboard computer, saving gas. That's one green machine, saving cash and the planet. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. What you don't see can't hurt you, right? Neighborly ghosts and friendly spirits aside, think again. What you can't see can kill you. When I come back, I'll tell you all about it.
O'Reilly.
If it's time to replace your vehicle's battery, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of our exclusive Do It Right rebate. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Conventional wisdom says ignorance is bliss, but colorless, odorless, and tasteless carbon gases, together with visible byproducts of pollution, harm health and environment. Enter Walbro Corporation's Smart Tank, the industry's first electronically managed fuel storage and delivery system. What this means to consumers and to citizens of planet Earth is harmful vapor collection and carbon vapor storage within the tank itself, while providing fuel pressure as demanded by your onboard computer, saving gas. That's one green machine, saving cash and the planet. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you very much, Marty White. Welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Ride along with me this hour, and we'll talk cars, and I'll share information that'll help you drive a safer automobile and keep your car in your garage versus in, say, the repair shop. But still, you should schedule a couple of visits a year to your repair shops. Why? And this is a repair shop. Now, it's not necessarily a fast in, fast out lube center, although that's a great place to go if you just need an oil change and you're about to leave town. But remember, every time you need an oil change, it's also time for a vehicle inspection. So they're not one and the same. I'll tell you a little more about that and how we perform our services and our digital inspections here at Car Clinic Service a little bit later in the program, and also sharing information that I got a nice letter from a gentleman in Kansas about graphene. Fabio has this questionable look. Okay, here we go. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Summer's heat can be draining on your vehicle's battery, folks. Rising temperatures can cause battery fluids to evaporate. So have your battery tested for free at O'Reilly Auto Parts, and if it does need replacing, the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help you find the exact Super Start battery for your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Your calls when I come back at 888 Car Clinic.
If it's time to replace your vehicle's battery, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of our exclusive Do It Right rebate. For a limited time, purchase a Super Start Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's back to school time, and the Car Care Council has a 5-point checklist to make sure your vehicle is kid-safe and road-ready. 1. Check lights and wipers for visibility. 2. Get an annual brake inspection. 3. Check tires for underinflation or excessive wear. 4. Review tips for seatbelt fit and position. And 5. If your car isn't already equipped, consider installing a backup sensor to help reduce the risk of backover incidents. For more great tips, videos, and recommended service schedules, go to carcare.org. That's carcare.org. Time for another edition of Cooling System Q&A brought to you by Motorrad, your first choice for vehicle thermostats and caps. Today's question, what role does the radiator pressure cap play? The pressure cap regulates internal pressure in the system using 2 valves, a pressor and a depressor. The pressure cap controls the release of hot coolant into the recovery tank as the coolant expands from the heat, all the while maintaining pressure that is critical to preventing overheating. Turn the engine off, the antifreeze cools down, causing a vacuum in the system as the internal pressure decreases. This decrease in pressure could cause hoses to collapse and coolant levels to be incorrect. This expansion and contraction of coolant in and out of the recovery tank helps to maintain proper coolant levels. This is why it's critical to regularly inspect and replace when necessary your radiator pressure cap. Motorrad offers the best coverage of thermostats and pressure caps in the world for virtually any vehicle and engine on or off the road. Motorrad, leading the way in coverage and service. For more, go to motorradusa.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here, your aroma helps me wake, and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And good morning. Welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. It's been a great couple of weeks. In fact, this month has been really hot. So what else is new? But even for you folks in New York, it's been really hot. And I can tell you, as long as I've been in the automotive service industry, which is all my life, which has been a long life and a good one, and here on the Car Clinic, on the network, we started the network in 1991, so we have some 27 years going strong here. And every Saturday, I get to share information that I have learned over the years and also learned in the past week, because our studios here in the center of the automotive universe are, as many of you know, are right in the inside a 15,000 square foot automotive service shop. So 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes seems like 100 hours a week. We service, maintain, and repair our customers' cars. So the advice that I share with you and give you, and hopefully the buzzwords that not hopefully, but for sure the buzzwords that I share with you will help you better communicate with your local service shop. So that's a good reason to tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And also, I get a lot of emails, as you would expect, from those of you who have specific questions. And just remember now, when we talk cars on the air, there's no way that I can repair an automobile, over the radio or over the airwaves, although I have managed to do a pretty decent job over the years. But if you have a specific problem with a specific car, then I need to know the VIN number, which is a 17-digit, alphanumeric number. I need to know the year, make, model, the transmission. Of course, the VIN has all that, and I need to look at my database, which I do not use, have never used, and I rarely use the word never, but never used on any live broadcast, because I don't have the time to say, oh, hold on just a minute, folks, and let me look that up. It just doesn't work that way. So that's why when I get emails, and you can send me emails, Bobby at Car Clinic Network, which is my personal email, Bobby at carclinicnetwork.com, and Car Clinic Network is all one word. So you can send me an email regarding a specific question that you've had, or a problem or an issue, and that will give me more time and during the week, and actually I have more time on this program than I have during the week, seems like, to look into our database. And we subscribe, we being our service shop, we subscribe to all of the OEMs. We get information from all the OEMs, and that's a subscription-based data, which means that we reprogram and reflash your computers. So if you have a brand new car, let's say you're driving an 18 or 17 or a Chevy, I can assure you, after you've taken delivery of that car, General Motors says, oh wait, there's a better way we can tune the engine, or there's a better shift pattern for the transmission. And not to get technical. Oh, and by the way, Ted Sasser's in the house. Oh, hola. So Theodore's back, and so when you call, he will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. I apologize for not inviting you, but it's 888-227-2546. That's the number, 888 Car Clinic. And Ted will take your call, put you in a queue, and I will put you on the air. So when you call and you have a car question, I share with you information that I've learned over my 27 on the broadcast, 47 in the Automotive Service Center. I share with you information that will help you make a more educated decision. Will it fix your car? No. Possibly? Yes. But it's a way, the program is a means by which you can get information, courtesy. I started to say free. It's free to you, but it's courtesy of our sponsor partners. And we have sponsor partners. So yeah, we're supposed to be a for-profit organization, although it's not a lot of profit, but we profit by, and I personally profit by, number one, this broadcast keeps me on my toes for answering your questions. the service shop and the challenges we go through daily keeps me on my toes. So when you ask a question, I've already seen that. I've already had that problem. Maybe not specifically for your car, maybe not a red a Lincoln Town Car or a white Lincoln Town Car like Joseph is called again, but doesn't matter because, you know, Ford uses the same engine for all of their vehicles. So what works for a Lincoln or a Mercury that's no longer, or a Ford, will also work for your particular automobile. And those are that's kind of information that you need that will help you make a more educated decision and also save you money. So that's really what we're here about. So I want to reach out to a special shout out to Car Clinic listener Ed Trimpe, and it's Trimpe. So Fabio, is that Trimpe or Trimpe or Trimp? What do you mean that's what you would get? You didn't answer my question. You're a lot of help.
I agree, yes.
Yeah. Well, he's a politician this morning. So a special shout out to Car Clinic listener Ed Trimpe in Pratt, Kansas, who tunes in to our affiliate KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains, in Salina, Kansas. And KFRM is a Taylor Communications station. And by the way, the FR in KFRM stands for Farm Radio. How cool is that? So Edward sent me a terrific letter talking about hydrogen fuels that are being tested by the U.S. Naval Research Lab. And that's a subject that I won't get into, but he also mentioned graphene. So that's why when I opened the program this morning, I said graphene. Which is already used to make gears on a 3D computer. And I'll share with you a little later in the program my research and also what Ed sent to me with regard to what graphene. It's a graphene-based composite material that is stronger than steel and lighter, and I mean all those things. Like, has someone reinvented material? And the answer is it appears they have. And someone, of course, is the University of Manchester in the UK. So I will share a little bit about what I've learned about graphene, but I find it very interesting that we can create a gear with a 3D printer and use that gear in an engine. So we'll see how strong it is over time. Time does have a way of producing the facts. So a special thanks to Edward Trimpe from Pratt, Kansas. And I'm going to say Trimp, Fabio, so that I could have it both ways. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, to you. And thanks again, Edward. I appreciate your kind letter and the time that you took to write to me. And folks, you can send me a note. We're in Pensacola, Florida. Just Google Bobby Likis, Likis, by the way. Let's go to Joseph's call. Joseph, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You're first in, so you're first up. Glad to have you in the house.
Thank you, Bobby. Bobby, I have a 98 Lincoln Town Car, just turned 90,000 miles, and it's been meticulously maintained. And I got a problem that my battery light goes on when I start the car in the morning. So I went over to O'Reilly. They checked it out, and it showed I needed a new battery. So I put in a new battery and went on my way. Mind you, I turned the car off and then turned it back on, which is important in this conversation, okay? Okay. Put a new battery in, went on my way. The next morning, I got in the car, started the car up, battery light goes on again. Half a block, it goes off, okay? This has been going on for 4 or 5 months. I even took a 2,000-mile trip with the car, which I was very hesitant to do, but
sure, yeah.
I did it anyway. And it was fine. And same thing, battery light went on, battery light went off. Once I stopped the car, turn it off, then turn it back on, and after I go someplace, and I might be 5 or 10 minutes or a little bit more, the battery light is off for the rest of the day. Sometimes when I'm driving the car, and I'll go maybe a little bit further, maybe 5 or 6 miles, it's on, and then it goes off all by itself, and it's good for the rest of the day. I don't see it anymore, okay? The alternator was checked. They said the alternator was fine. But mind you, the alternator was checked after I got to O'Reilly and I took a little ride and the battery light went off. It wasn't first thing in the morning when I started it.
Got it.
That's my problem.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be really straight with you and honest with you. I know what's wrong with it. and
Good.
You thought maybe I was going to say I don't know what's wrong with it, but and I don't know specifically what's wrong with it, but I have a really great idea. It just so happens that over the years, again, we're talking about how ironic, I guess, or not ironic, but how pinpoint this is. We had some Ford products in the vehicle, in the shop, with a similar problem and issue. There's the heartbreak, Joseph. Folks, stay tuned. When I come back, I'm going to tell you my thoughts. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries. Joe touched on why many of today's vehicles are better suited for this technology. Let's hear from Joe.
Attributes that make your vehicle a good candidate for an AGM battery really depend on the electrical demands that are placed on the battery within your vehicle, as well as potentially the vehicle application, such as start-stop. Most vehicles manufactured in recent years actually contain more than 150 electrical accessories, including backup cameras, navigation systems, heated seats, even power windows, which are part of our everyday lives. Our AGM batteries are manufactured to meet these electrical demands. Additionally, if you have something in your car such as start-stop technology, you need an AGM battery to help ensure you are effectively powering your vehicle during this stop event.
Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries, which are precision engineered to meet the electrical demands we put on today's vehicles. Learn more at autobatteries.com. A 2000 Chrysler Concorde with a 2.7 V6 recently came into the shop. The owner was having issues with low oil pressure and a warning light. After testing and inspection, we found sludge in the engine. The owner was partly to blame as he had not changed the oil often enough. But sludge buildup is a common problem in this engine. Do you overhaul this old engine in this old car? Well, maybe, but Berryman Engine Oil Flush may help. Berryman Engine Oil Flush quickly and safely removes harmful sludge and other deposits in the crankcase of all gasoline and diesel engines without using aggressive solvents. Berryman frees sticky valves and lifters for quieter operation, opens restricted oil passages that improve overall oil circulation. Berryman's Engine Oil Flush is compatible with all single-grade and multi-grade conventional and synthetic gasoline and diesel engine oils. Drive to BerrymanProducts.com for more information and to check out Berryman Engine Oil Flush. That's BerrymanProducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
Higher, 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you just tuned in, we're talking with Joseph, who has an alternator light or battery light that comes on at random, specifically more so upon cold starts, and goes out. Did have a bad battery and replaced the battery, and still has the same warning light. I see that we have John with a Pacifica that has an oil change question with a 2017 Pacifica. And also, if you have a question, Ted Sasser is in the house, and he will take your call. I'll tell you a little bit about Ted a little bit later in the program because he will be next year a full-time teacher. So yeah, yay! That's a really, really great. So our team here at Car Connect Network excels not only right here in house but also in their personal lives and professional lives. Joseph, here's you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to disconnect, and you can do this with the engine cold. You don't have to warm the engine or anything. I want you to follow the ground cable from the battery to the block. The engine block.
Ground cable is where's that come from? The black.
Yes, sir.
The black cable that's on the battery. Is it part of that? Does it go?
It is that. It is that cable, and that.
Oh.
You have a positive cable that goes down to the starter area. You have a ground cable that goes directly to the engine, and some of those ground cables have pigtails and they go to the body as well. But the main cable, the big cable, has to go to the engine because the starter draws more amp than any other device in the car, and so it's like jumper cables. You wouldn't use an extension cord for a jumper cable because it'd melt the cord. So, but you could use the extension cord for the wiring in the car. So the size of the wire, demands or controls the amount of current flow. So I said all that to say that follow the ground cable from the battery, black terminal, down to the engine block, and I believe you will find that it's on the passenger front side of either the cylinder head or the block. But regardless of where it is, and it should be in that area.
Is that part of that black wire on the battery? I mean, is it like another wire coming off of it?
No, sir. It is the main big cable. So if you go to the battery and you look at the red and the black, you go to the black one, right?
Right.
All right. You just follow that. Just kind of follow the black, yellow, black road. Follow that cable.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Go down to the block. Unbolt that cable from the block.
Okay.
Take a wire brush and clean the block. Take that same wire brush and clean the cable both on the block side. Take the bolt out and where the bolt goes through it as well.
Is that tough to get to, Bobby?
It should not be, and if it is, if you see it's under some of those other accessories, just take it to a shop and request. Tell them you'll pay them a half hour, but you want them to do nothing, no testing, and some shops will sort of bow up at this because if they clean the battery cable and didn't fix your problem, they say, well, hey, you cleaned my battery cable, didn't fix my problem, and that's what we would tell you. So you have to let them know that you want to clean that cable, and tell them I said that. That's okay. You want to clean the cable and the block where it bolts onto the block. And that's all you want to do, and specifically that's all you want to do because I believe that will correct this problem. And if you did something else, if they did something else like put a module or an alternator or did something else, then we would never know if this fixed the problem or not. So specifically, I want the ground cable where it is attached to the engine block to be removed, brushed, and resecured to the block. That's all I want you to do. Then I want you to call me back and see if it fixes the car.
I got it.
Okay.
Can I ask you another question, Bobby?
Sure. You're on the air. It's your time.
Okay, I thought maybe I was the only one at the time.
Well, no, there's some other people in the queue, but John, if you'll hold, and Robert from Kansas, if you'll hold, let's give Joseph just another courtesy question. Go ahead, Joseph.
Okay, this is quick. There's the Lincoln Town Car again, okay?
Yes, sir.
Regular gas, I was cheap one day, and I said, I'm going to try regular gas. Tried regular gas, and I got a ping, okay? So I went back to premium. Which it says on the flap where you open the door to put the gas on. It says premium suggested. So I went back to 93.
Yeah.
Put that in. A couple of tankfuls I figured it'd take to clear out the regular. Still getting a ping, but it got better. But it never went away. It still pings very, very slightly under acceleration. Shall I leave it alone? Is there anything to be concerned about?
What year is this car?
98.
Well, and it calls for premium?
Yeah, I was surprised. I look at the flap. I opened it.
Yeah.
The guy had the car before me. Had it for 18 years. I'm the second owner, so it's mint. Okay. And it says it on the flap, premium suggested. When I put regular in it, I was getting, pinging. Now I'm getting a slight ping under acceleration with premium.
Okay. We have a partner sponsor, and you may have heard me speak of Berryman. Okay?
Yes.
So here's what I want you to do. Again, this is somewhere along the line of do this and do this only, because we're going to see if this corrects a problem. I want you to, and O'Reilly Auto Parts sells this and offers this product. It's called Berryman B12 Chem Tool, like a chemical tool. So it's Berryman B12 Chem Tool. I want you to add a can of Berryman B12 Chem Tool to the gas tank. And just for grins, let's add it to like a half tank, so that way it'll be double strength, you know. And drive that tank as low as you comfortably feel. You know, you can run it if you trust the low fuel light. I do on mine because I have a habit and I enjoy running it down and watching to make sure my gauge works and the engine and the miles per tank. So run it down at least to 1/8 of a tank, so that you can use as much of that chemical treatment, that chemically treated half tank of fuel, and that will dissolve carbon. I suspect that, I know that engine has carbon buildup on the pistons, which would cause that issue. I'm concerned that you have a ping because there's a ping knock sensor that controls that, but that's okay. Let's don't get into technical repair and module replacement and parts replacement, because you can spend a lot of money. Just add that one unit of Berryman B12 Chem Tool, run it for half a tank, and then fill it and run another half tank, and then call me back after you've had, maybe in a couple of weeks when you've had time to do all these things, and let me know how both of these fixes worked for you, okay?
If this corrects the problem, do I have to do this every time I get to a half a tank, or just once?
No, you just have to call me back when you got a problem again, that's all.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, my friend. All right. See
all
you.
right, thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome. All right, let's go to John. John, thanks for holding, and sorry to take so long there, but you have to do what you have to do. It's your turn now. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby. Excellent show. I got a 2017 Pacifica Chrysler.
Yes.
And you still there?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. And about 4,000 miles, after 6 months, I had the oil changed them. They use synthetics, and they told me on the book it says change it every 8,000 miles, but the dealer told me it needed to be changed twice a year, whether you had 4,000 or 8,000 on it. Could you tell me what I'm supposed to do to affect the warranty?
Well, let me say this. The warranty, according to the warranty, in fact, you can look in your owner's, let's do this first. Look in your owner's manual at what Chrysler dictates, because regardless of what the dealer says, and the dealer's making a valid point. I'll say that. I like what you were told, but I'll tell you why you were told that. It has nothing. It has more to do about the health of the car than it does about the health of the oil. So first, look in your owner's manual under the schedule, and you'll see that the 7,500 mile limit is perfectly within manufacturer specifications to maintain your factory OEM warranty on your 2017 Pacifica. That's first and foremost. Doesn't make any difference what the dealer says, because anybody can say anything at any given time, but what's written in that book is dictated by the maker of the vehicle. So that's the first answer. You got that part?
Okay, and like I said, I only got 7,500 on it now, and it's
right.
13 months old.
That's right. And but that is the legal answer to your question. So let's get that off the books, because it doesn't apply to you, but you need to know, and people that are tuned in need to know the legal answer. Now let's talk about what's real. If you wait until you get 8,000 or 7,500 miles on your vehicle, like you said, you'll drive it a year, and here's what happens. And here's the real challenge. I'm so glad you called me. Here's the real challenge. Oil changes are secondary to oil changes. What? What does that mean? It means that the inspection of the vehicle is first and foremost. It just so happens that an oil change comes with a vehicle inspection. And that's why it's so important, and that's where we excel at our, and I'm not going to tout our company here, but just to tell you, we perform a digital vehicle inspection that takes us about 45 minutes to an hour. And oh, by the way, the oil and filter change comes with it. The inspection of your vehicle, and that's what the dealer tells you, and so you got some really great advice, along with my legal answer advice. And the fact is that, and I said at the front of the show, how ironic is this? You should have your car in a shop at least twice a year. Why? Because things wear that you don't know wear every 6 months. Seals start to leak, possibly. Brakes wear, practically. Tire alignment. And I'll never forget when GM, this is years ago, I don't know, must have been 12 to 15 years ago, Tony Gain, who is a service director for the John Hall Group in Daytona Beach, and his roots are from the shop, and now he controls all the servicing for all the John Hall Group dealerships. He called me one day, and we were talking offline. He says, you know, GM's got this oil light that comes on, and he says it can come on at 9,000 up to 22,000 miles. But the problem is that if people wait beyond this is negated the 5,000 mile oil change, which means they don't rotate their tires. So you could lose a $500 wear $100 or $500 in tire wear because you waited a year to have the oil change. So forget oil changes. Have your car inspected every 6 months. Now, with you could change the oil with synthetic oil one time a year if you did not exceed 7,500 miles. You still need to get inspections every 6 months, and that's what the dealer told you. I agree. When I come back, I'll get Robert's call from Kansas. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries. Joe touched on why many of today's vehicles are better suited for this technology. Let's hear from Joe.
Attributes that make your vehicle a good candidate for an AGM battery really depend on the electrical demands that are placed on the battery within your vehicle, as well as potentially the vehicle application, such as start-stop. Most vehicles manufactured in recent years actually contain more than 150 electrical accessories, including backup cameras, navigation systems, heated seats, even power windows, which are part of our everyday lives. Our AGM batteries are manufactured to meet these electrical demands. Additionally, if you have something in your car such as start-stop technology, you need an AGM battery to help ensure you are effectively powering your vehicle during this stop event.
Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries, which are precision engineered to meet the electrical demands we put on today's vehicles. Learn more at autobatteries.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, that's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old tech device as easy as purchasing new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the responsible recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find lots of tips to simplify your recycling, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Television sets, video game consoles, smartphones, tablets, they're all recyclable. Don't let them clog up your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org. You're sharp enough to get the latest tech tools into your home. Now be responsible enough to get your old devices to the recycler. That's greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part this morning by Diablo Sport and the Intune, which means that you can tune your engine without popping the hood. Now, how's that possible? With the Diablo Sport Intune i3 performance programmer, actually you can boost your vehicle's power without ever opening the hood. You can learn more and see the details as it relates to your Ford or GM or Chrysler or Jeep vehicle at diablosport.com. Let's go to Robert in Kansas. And folks, I invite you to call. This is the longest segment of the hour. 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. Robert, thank you for holding. You've been there for a while. From Kansas, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby. Enjoy your show.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy it myself, and I appreciate you tuning in.
Hey, I've got a 1980 F600 Ford gas truck that I have to use starting fluid in the mornings to get it to go. It will not start on just pumping or choking. But once you get it going and started, then the rest of the day, as long as it doesn't sit too long, it'll start up just fine. But once it sits overnight or anything like that, you have to get the starting fluid out. Now, I replaced the manual fuel pump with an electric fuel pump, and that still didn't fix it.
Well,
so I'm kind of perplexed as to what I need to do. I had the carburetor overhauled and rebuilt.
Yes, sir. Well, here's a bottom line, and what I believe in my heart of hearts. I believe you have some lazy rings, and I believe they're all lazy. I assume it idle. How does it idle? Okay.
It idles pretty nice, actually.
Yeah. Here's what I really think, Robert. I believe that with the age of that vehicle, and also we had problems in the 80s with those vehicles with gas engines starting, but more so in hot weather than in cold weather. As a rule, those vehicles would fire right up in cold, and not, when I say cold, I don't mean cold, I mean in the morning, cold start.
Yeah.
After overnight stand is the professional jargon, but nonetheless, here's a fact. When you spray start fluid in there, that starting fluid, really the flash point of that starting fluid is unbelievably fast and at low temp. So it will create a heat and spark and ignite more easily than gasoline. And in fact, if you use high octane fuel, you will actually have possibly a poorer starting engine in cold mornings, because higher octane fuel also is slower to light off than lower octane. So the first thing that you should do is make sure you're using a low octane fuel. And I would try this just for grins, because you've had the vehicle for a long time, obviously. What I would do is when I put it to bed one night, I would, next morning before I tried to start it, open the hood, take the air cleaner can off, and pump the accelerator. And take a flashlight, look down in the carburetor, and see that you're getting a nozzle spray from the accelerator pump. Now, you may have already done this. You've had the choke works and all that, but just visually see that you're getting, and pump it a couple of times. And then that's before you ever try to start it. So you can physically see liquid gasoline spraying into the carburetor, and then stop. You with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Then leave the air box off, walk around to the vehicle, and see how it starts. Now, the length of time that it takes you to go from watching the fuel spray in to the time you get around and open the door and put the key and turn the key will allow, and it's a trick what I'm doing here, it will allow time for that liquid gasoline to evaporate, at least for some of it to evaporate. so that when you turn the starter over, the lungs of the engine, meaning the intake manifold and runners, intake ports, will have this fuel vapor, not liquid, but vapor. And the minute you turn the starter over, that vapor will flow and light off more quickly than if you had gotten in the car to start with and sprayed raw fuel, because raw fuel won't burn. So I said I want you to go through this process to determine if you had just simply waited until the gasoline had time to evaporate, so to speak. You know, it won't evaporate doesn't mean it goes away, it just turns into a vapor. Then start the vehicle and see if that helps it. Then that will sort of solidify, and you'll know that you don't have a fuel problem, which I don't think you have. I think you have a low compression problem, and I think it's just part of the nature of that older engine. If that's the case, then I have a next step. Do you understand what I want you to do so far?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. If I don't have that, because this thing acts like it's starving for fuel.
Yeah, but see, what I'm talking about is proving out the point of fuel delivery.
Yeah.
Okay, and
yeah, I'll give that a whirl.
Okay, and allowing the fuel delivery to be vaporized first, because the fuel vaporization point, read vapor pressure, is totally different from that of starting fluid. So that's where I'm going here. So first, you're going to do this, what seems to be pretty simple, and it is, but takes patience, and you have to follow my guidelines. You got it?
Yep.
Okay,
sure
all right.
Do.
So that's the first thing you're going to do. If that solves the problem, then you can, every morning, just be patient, and when you get in the car, pump the accelerator and sing a song, you know, or wait 30 seconds. It's hard to wait 30 seconds before you turn the key. I mean, 30 seconds is a long time. It's like when people jump start their car and they hook up a battery, you know, cable from the good car to the bad car, and okay, try it now. Don't do that. Never jump start a car, folks. Instead, hook the battery cable from the good car to the bad car and wait 5 minutes. Because what you want to do and what the car demands, you need to charge the dead battery, because by jump starting, what you're doing is you're trying to charge the dead battery, but the starter says, give me all that power, and you can't, and the cables in the good car can't deliver enough boost to charge the battery and supply the starter with the current it needs too. In fact, yesterday, Brennan Beasley, who is our general manager, went over to start a car for one of our customers, and the battery was stone dead. He said, I had to leave our boost box on the car 2 full minutes before the ignition switch would ever even, the lights, the dash light would even come on. So, and start the car. So there's a little patience that it takes, but what that helps you to do is better understand the physical shortcomings of the machine, and then you can take the next step to fix it. And so let's go fast forward. You got all that in your brain. The next step would be, after that works, is to run a compression test on the engine, and that's for another phone call. But that's what I would do next, and because I suspect that you have lazy rings and poor compression, and poor compression means that the engine doesn't suck. Well, engines don't really produce vacuum. The atmosphere, there's a pressure differential is technically what it is. So the engine doesn't have the ability to create a pressure differential for the atmosphere to force the fuel in there. That's technically what's going on, I believe, with your 80 model vehicle, F600. So, but try that wait and patient fuel delivery, watch and tell, and let me know how that works.
I sure will. Thanks a lot, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks for calling. So from Kansas, that's going to lead me back to Edward Trimp. So I've decided, Fabio, that it's going to be Edward Trimp, not Trimpe, you know. And you didn't help me at all with this. You didn't help me. You said, yeah, that sounds good to me. Huh? What?
I said I'm supporting.
Supporting. Yeah. Okay. So that's great. So anyway, Edward Trimp from Pratt, Kansas, on our station KFRM 550 AM, the voice of the plains in Salina, Kansas, sent me this nice letter about graphene. And he had a great point too, folks. So graphene is a material that has a huge amount of outstanding qualities and strength and flexibility and lightweight and conductivity. So it's great for the simplest and most effective ways of harnessing the potential of graphene is to combine it with the existing product, so then it becomes a composite material. But here's the University of Manchester in the UK they've already shown the potential of a rust-free future. How? They combine graphene with paint. Well, why would you do that? It's a unique graphene coating is formed which could signal the end of the deterioration of ships and cars as regard to rust, because the graphene doesn't rust. So you mix that with the paint or blend it or ever how they, technologically would perform that act, and it would stop rust. And then for sporting goods are often the first to take on new material development, like skis and poles and brake rotors, and so it's just amazing how new. But anyway, let me fast forward here. Graphene-based composites and coatings could further be involved in enhancing sport equipment in skiing, cycling, and even Formula One. So it's really cool. I want to thank Edward for sending this information. According to this, lightest, strongest, safest, greenest, a graphene-based composite aircraft wing could drastically reduce weight, reduce the detrimental effects of lightning strike damage, and increase fuel efficiency and the range of aircraft. This could result in the world's lightest, strongest, safest, greenest airplane. How cool is that? It's called graphene, G-R-A-P-H-ene. So, Fabio, how do you spell ene? It's wrong. I knew that I'd get you this morning. G-R-A-P-H-E-N-E, graphene. Okay. All right. Thanks again to Ed. I appreciate that. And folks, if you'd like to send me a letter or an email or just some tidbit, some piece of information that you find that's interesting that I could share on Bobby Likis Car Clinic, I'll be happy to do it. In the meantime, still time for your call at 888-227-2546. 888-227-2546. Remember these two words, the district. Now, if you're in Kansas or California or New York, it doesn't mean anything to you, but if you're in the fair city of Pensacola, Florida, it does mean a lot, because as I've mentioned over the past month or so, the District Steakhouse was the brainchild of my friend Wilmer Mitchell. And Wilbur and his great family operate what's called Seville Quarter, and it is a landmark along the Gulf Coast, especially here in Pensacola, Florida. So Wilbur came up with this, according to some, harebrained idea that he was going to open a restaurant called the District. I love the name. And sure enough, it is in the District because it's right across the street from Seville Quarter. And over a period of years, Wilmer and his family and associates put together this restaurant. And when you have an opportunity, folks, whether you're in Pensacola or not, if you come to our fair city, you have to go there. If you've been there, which it's just recently opened, the District has had rave reviews. And I'm so proud that Wilmer's vision has come to fruition. And I was honored to be part of the first few private tasters to determine and help them determine their menu. So you get a chance, District Steakhouse. Number one, if you're local, try it out. Number two, if you're not local, take a look at the menu. And if you're in the business and you're a chef, you take a look at Chef Josh Warner's menu, because he did a fantastic job. And I can't wait to go down for the official opening. I'll be doing that soon. In the meantime, let's hear from you at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. So we had this car in the shop this week that was overheating. And it just wasn't overheating this week. This vehicle had been overheating for some time. And the owner put a thermostat in it, which to no avail. Put a new heater hose on it that was leaking a little bit to no avail, which means it still overheat. He brought it in for us to check it out, and we figured it had a bad radiator because it was a Ford product, and Ford doesn't have many water pump issues, like Toyota doesn't have many water pump issues, but Ford has had some problems with their radiator. Well, it wasn't. The head gaskets. Well, the car was worth $2,500 at maybe $3,000. The repair was more than the car was worth. So what we did for this particular application was to add a unit of K-Seal. And for that matter, the K-Seal is the #1 multi-purpose coolant leak repair in the world. And so we added that to this vehicle. We drove the car 15 minutes. We gave it back to our customer with the understanding we're going to see what happens here. So far, and it's been 3 days, and then so next week I expect to hear the good news or the bad news, and I expect it to be good news that K-Seal did the trick. So we'll be heroes, and the gentleman will be able to continue to drive that old car that has bad head gaskets that have been fixed by the K-Seal. That's a true story. Hey, stay tuned for another great hour of Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you join us right along with me, and we'll talk cars. And if you've just now tuned in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, this is our second hour of today. We broadcast every Saturday and have for many years, 27, yeah, that's many. Not many, many. right, Fabio? Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so accommodating this morning. 888 Car Clinic, folks, is the number for you to call. 888-227-2546. Ted's in the house today. Theodore, Ted, glad to have you with us. Jonathan, of course, Jonathan Sloan is in the background. I can't see through the control window and see him, but I know he's in there taking care of his duties, and he's got our back. And I've got your back. So if you have a car question, now's the time. 888 Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you this morning in part by the Car Care Council, our partners. It's back to school time, don't you know? The perfect opportunity for all of you drivers to make sure that your vehicles are kid safe and road ready. You can visit carcare.org for a number of fantastic tools, including tips and service schedules, videos, and more. Again, carcare.org. Your calls when I come back at 888-227-2546. Your vehicle a little sluggish? Try Berryman's B12 Chem Tool. Using HEST or high energy solvent technology, Berryman B12 Chem Tool dissolves gum, varnish, and carbon deposits in the fuel system to help restore lost power and peak performance. But don't take our word for it. According to Kevin M., Berryman products have proven to be a class act in maximizing performance, starting and saving on gas mileage. I've noticed a cruising speed, acceleration, and overall car performance. Learn more about Berryman products and their HEST technology at berrymanproducts.com.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Car repairs get expensive, and most of us don't have spare money for them. When a heater core starts to fail, it can be costly depending on location. Maybe $1,000 even. When a heater core leaks, it usually comes on gradually with a smell of coolant and a film on the glass that keeps returning. Common leaks are the glued seals on the plastic tanks. This represents a perfect opportunity to use K-Seal, as it can be poured into the cooling system and driven right away. And K-Seal remains in the system, so it can prevent future leaks as well. We recently used K-Seal on a Honda to stop a heater core leak. We never experienced the smell of coolant, but we had to regularly clean the inside windshield glass to remove that film. It doesn't take more than a few drops from a leaking heater core to cause an unsafe film on the glass. After using K-Seal, it stopped. Find K-Seal at automotive retailers everywhere and get more information at kseal.com. That's kseal.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups. But I don't like playing with my money, so I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your hosts, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Ted will take your call. Ted will take your call at 888 Car Clinic and put you in the queue, and I will do my best to answer your car question. I don't have all the answers, and that's not a safety parachute or guard for me. It's just that I don't have all the no one has all the answers. But what we can do, and what I've learned to do over the years of hosting this program, is to sort of dig more deeply into the root of your question. So if you have a vehicle that has an ongoing problem, there are some steps that you can take to repair that vehicle. But even, I think, more importantly, is not to go there. When I say not to go there, not to go toward the problems. Well, how do you not go into car problems? Well, the industry calls it maintenance. Unfortunately, the same industry of which I've been a part all my life has done a poor job explaining what maintenance is. I'll tell you what maintenance is not. Changing oil and filter systematically, that is not maintenance. Maintenance to that end is obsolete because it's incomplete. And incomplete means that you say, well, gosh, I've brushed my teeth all my life. Why should I get a cavity? Why do I need a crown? Why do I need teeth cleaning professionally? Well, because that's just part of what you have to do to maintain a healthy teeth. And that's the same thing for automobiles, except it goes hand in glove with bumper to bumper services of all the fluids and the brake system and the air conditioner system and the power steering. I'll bet you, I would be willing to bet this morning that there's not one listener out there, that this is a big statement, that has had his or her power steering fluid changed before the car hit 50,000 miles, unless it's one of my customers. Power steering fluid, 50,000 miles. And I'll tell you how sincere and how strict this is. I say strict, I say how deeply I want to, share this message with you. If you've got a car with 50,000 miles, warm it up one day, shut it down, open the hood, and remove the cap, which is okay to remove it hot, for the power steering reservoir, and smell it. Smell the power steering fluid. And then you call me and tell me if it doesn't smell and look and it's discolored and burned. And the reason for that is that you can't keep oil of any kind, whether it's cooking oil or gear oil or at 200 degrees, only 200 degrees, and it not go south on you because it oxidizes, it gets hot. So that's just part of why power steering systems fail, why pumps fail, and why racks fail, because the power steering system takes all that material from the wear and tear of the ram effect of the rack and pinion, and it distributes all the metal and all the seal, everything that's in the system continually goes through the system. In our bodies, with those unfortunate cancer victims, when your cancer metastasizes, of course, you know what that means. It's deadly, and it means that disease is spreading through your body. Well, that's standard procedure for power steering fluid because there's no filters. And that's why it's important to get it out. And so when I share this information with you, because I've been there, done that, and I know what can prevent you from having to spend so much money down the road when you can spend it up front and save money. You can spend $1 on preventive type maintenance, it's called, but that's not what I call it. You can spend $1 there and save minimum of $6. That's a fact. Now let's go to Missouri. Take a call from James, a longtime listener. James, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby, thank you very much. How are you today?
I'm terrific, thank you. So, KREI in Farmington, is that your station you're tuned in?
Yes, sir. And I've been listening to you for 15 years on that.
Yeah.
And,
Great. That's a great affiliate that we've had for years and years. What can I do for you?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank Ted, your phone answer, because I just got my very first smartphone a couple weeks ago, and I tried to download some of your shows and couldn't figure it out, and he just helped me out how to do it. So I've been listening to you for 15 years, and I used to record your show on the radio, off the radio, and I still will. But I probably have about 300 of your shows recorded on my phone. So now, if I miss one, I can go back and catch it.
Terrific.
So thanks to Ted for
Well,
helping me
thank
there.
you, Ted. Thank you very much. And James, yeah, I'm neglectful for not sharing that information with more, because a lot of people either don't have the time or don't want to spend 2 hours on a Saturday, but they would be doing other things if they could have it in their phone. So I really appreciate that, and maybe we'll put Ted on the microphone. He can explain to everyone how to download. In the meantime, what can I do for you on your vehicle?
Okay. Last week you had a best of show, and the funny thing was I was on it, so I got to hear myself.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was great. I had called you a while back, probably around March or early April. I'm the one, I was taking my mom to the eye doctor in the morning, and got pulled over by highway patrol because it was dark out, and you could see the glow of the catalytic converter on the highway.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And you told me the story about your Viper that almost caught on fire.
That did catch on fire.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, it did. We put it out. It did. That's another story for another day. It didn't hurt the car, but it sure hurt my feelings. And this little flames, and I don't mean smoke, flames were billowing out of the left side where the left cat was on fire. And the young man that worked here, the technician, had already emptied a can of chemical, but it wasn't a chemical fire, and it wouldn't put it out. So I ran down and grabbed the hose, and I said I wasn't going to share that, but I will. But anyway, the phones are jammed, James. Let's move on. What can I do for you today? Thank you so much for your kind words, and from KREI there in Farmington, a whale of a station, the Car Clinic affiliate for years and years and years, and I really appreciate your call today. What can I do for you?
You're very welcome. Okay, you said that there was a reason why I had put this car to the side for a while and decided to start working on it again. You said there was a reason why the cat went bad. That was probably dumping raw fuel down there. Mm-hmm. My question is, I would like to pull the wires off the coil packs and see if it runs any different, because it runs terrible. If you have any other suggestions, my question really is, and my fear is, I've heard that if you pull the wires off, there's nowhere for the spark to go, and you can actually hurt the coil pack.
Well, when you say wires, you mean the coil wire feeding the plug?
Yeah, I wanted to pull the plug wire off at the coil pack.
Well,
at the coil pack.
Yes, that's a problem, because if you pull, here's a point. Any coil, whether it's a HEI or a coil pack on a 98 Chevy like yours, it has 12 volts that's converted into 125,000 volts. So how do you do that? Well, you have coil windings, and then you charge the windings, and then you break the circuit. And when you break the circuit, all that energy has to go somewhere, so it goes to the closest ground. Well, if there's no ground, and so that ground can be a direct ground, or it can be a spark plug fire. The problem with the difference is a spark plug is under tremendous compression pressure during the compression of the engine, and so the voltage, rather than jump a 30 to 60 thousandths gap, and your fingernail's probably 20 thousandths, 15 thousandths, so the thickness of a toenail probably is a 30 thousandths gap. So rather than jump that pressurized atmosphere 30 or 40 thousandths gap, a spark can and will jump a half an inch under atmospheric pressure. And we used to have that problem with racing engines, because the ignition would jump to the header and misfire the engine. So if you take away all routing of spark gap, where in other words, it doesn't have a wire that can't short to the header or go to the spark plug, then internally that spark will create a path of least resistance and it will destroy the casing of the coil pack. So how do you do that? Well, what we use, and Johnny Bars is our master ASE lead technician, he actually uses a machine, a scan machine, a scanner, but it's not like you read at a parts store. It's a professional unit. And he can actually cripple individual cylinders in order of their firing to determine the strength of each cylinder. And I've actually seen him do this because I'm from old school, and I said, well, really, can you do this? I've actually seen him run a compression test on an engine, cranking and never run the engine, and running the engine as well. So James and folks, please stay tuned. When I come back, I promise we'll move on. I'll take your calls. James, don't go away. This Engine Care Spotlight is brought to you by Walker Products, a leading manufacturer of quality fuel system components and engine sensors. Today's vehicles are being pushed to new heights with increased fuel economy and fewer tailpipe emissions, which has created the need for a smarter and more sophisticated exhaust after-treatment system, featuring an array of sensors designed to help monitor and control the different aspects of vehicle operation and health. The EGT, or exhaust gas temperature sensor, plays a major role in multiple processes, and it's critical that the EGT is performing within their limits. But not all EGT sensors are created equal. Housing styles and materials vary, in addition to resistance types and temperature ratings. It's imperative that a consumer replace their EGT sensor with a correct OEM factory-style sensor. Walker Products has been supplying the automotive aftermarket since 1946 and manufactures all of its EGTs using only OEM-based sensors. Need a new sensor? Walker Products offers OE quality at aftermarket prices. Drive to walkerproducts.com. Talking tunes? No, not the ones on your radio, the ones that allow you to reprogram your vehicle's factory computer without even popping the hood. The result is more power, more torque, and a better overall driving experience. We recently sat down with Jim McGinn, Vice President of Marketing for PowerTech. Jim explained how other aftermarket accessories can integrate with performance programmers and monitors.
While traditionally known for adding horsepower and torque, the SuperChips line of product can also accommodate additional changes that you may make to your vehicle, including aftermarket tires and wheels to correct your speedometer, gear ratio changes for aftermarket gears, or even things like integrating with our on-dash display to activate your LED aftermarket lighting through our EAS power switch. We make the process seamless and easy and allow you to expand with additional accessories and use the SuperChips product to keep things in check.
And now, through June 30th, you can take advantage of a $50 rebate on all flashback tuners from SuperChips. Find your perfect tune at superchips.com. That's superchips.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone
From Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis. We're talking with James in Missouri and Farmington from our KREI affiliate there. So James, here's what I'm going to do that's short, and this is the shortest, best version to test your engine. You could have bad coils. You could have injector problems. I mean, given the age of the engine, and you said this car didn't run for a while, and you've decided that you want to get it back up and running. Here's what I recommend. You and I need to know what's on the inside versus how to tune the outside, because you could change coils and plugs and injectors and vacuum leaks and intake manifolds. I mean, it's a Chevrolet product, and all the above are common items. Okay. But here's what we must have in order to have a smooth running engine that fires and runs and cranks and does all the things we expect of cars. Compression. So this goes back to the basics. Let's run a compression test on the engine, and here's how that must be done. You remove all the spark plugs. And I would suggest that have the engine at warm, and warm means running a couple of minutes. It doesn't have to be hot. Cold is a more severe test. But warm would loosen the rings and everything. So you pull all the plugs, you put a compression gauge in, and you spin the starter no more, hold the throttle wide open, spin the throttle no more than 6 times. And so the first time, you don't know where the piston's going to be, so it could be a half stroke, it could be on an exhaust stroke or what have you of that particular cylinder. So the first puff will be 75 to 90 pounds. And then it would go poop, 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 up to 150. Now, the reason I say you only are allowed 6 turnovers or spins, so the only time, I think that was 7, but you spin it 6 times because when the engine is idling, it doesn't have opportunity to have 6 puffs. It has 1. So during the cranking speed, which is slower than idling, because it's only 300 RPM and idling is 1,000. So at 300 RPM, it takes you 6 puffs to get an accurate reading of the maximum pressure. But anybody could take any engine, unless it had a broken piston with a hole in a ring or a hole in a piston or something, and go like a dozen or 15 or 20 times and watch the slow bump up of compression. Well, that's not accurate. You go 6 times. The first one, 50, 70, 90 PSI, then 100, 130, 150, and then you check systematically the next cylinder and the next cylinder, and you compare the initial first 2 puffs to the 6th puff and how quickly each one came up. And if you got one that's lazy, you go back and recheck it. And then if you're not sure, check another one next to it. And by comparison, you'll get a perfect example of the health of the internals of that engine, including the valves, the guides, the rings, and what have you. And to that end, there are no manufacturers that have ever listed compression numbers. It is a percentage of differences between cylinders that they will list, because they don't know if an engine that has 150 PSI or 160 PSI, because there's too many variables in manufacturing and variables in test. You got it?
Yeah, and I have a compression gauge. I've been an ATV mechanic and motorcycle mechanic, and used to rebuild automatic transmissions in my dad's shop. So I will do that.
Okay, and call me back.
Next week or week after, I'll call you back.
All right, okay.
And let you know what I found.
All right, great, James. Thanks again for your call always, and appreciate you.
You're welcome, man.
Bye-bye. Now, who's up next? Pat from Nebraska. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding.
Okay, hi, Bobby. And you mentioned them 80s cars don't start good, a lot of them, when they get hot. That's
true.
Exactly what mine does.
Right.
It's a 85 Pontiac. And in the winter, it'll start right up,
Right.
And it gets hot out. And I'd drive it a ways, stop at the store or whatever, and it'll just turn over, pretty long before it fires.
Here's what we found, Pat, and so many in that era, so many problems. In that era, the carburetor was vented to the atmosphere. The little carburetor vents, the carburetor bowl, is vented to the atmosphere. That's all carburetors are. Well, not all, but
this was fuel injected.
It's fuel injected. Well,
I think it was the first year they came out with it.
Okay. Well, even worse, because that first year was a throttle body. It wasn't true fuel injection. What General Motors and Ford and all the American manufacturers did, they didn't do what the Europeans did, because the Europeans put true fuel injection. What the Americans did was they took a carburetor and they took all the guts out of the carburetor and used the two holes to flow air, and then they put a throttle, what's called throttle body, and they put an injector, 2 injectors, and they aimed the injector at one half of the engine and the other injector in the other half of the engine. So if you got a V6, you got 3 cylinders running off 1 injector and 3. So anyway, And then later on, General Motors had this terrible idea of making spider injector where they used one injector and ran 6 umbilical cords off of it. I'm telling you, man, it was a poor approach, but it was a temporary technology at that time approach. Here's my answer to you. The throttle body of that vehicle uses a pressure regulator that controls pressure, hot and cold. Also, the fuel pump itself has a check valve. I suspect that you have a fuel delivery problem, and the only way to test that is to have a shop perform a fuel pressure test, and that's the first step. Now, it's not going to fix your car. I'm just sharing with you what my gut is here. So here's what I want you to do. Write this down. You got a pen? Okay. A fuel pressure test that includes operating pressure during running operating pressure. That's the first test. Then maximum pressure, which is called a deadhead test. And the shop will know what that means. Deadhead test. Because you could have 50 psi of pressure, and then you squeeze the return line to the tank, and that you don't do that but about a half second, and you should see 90 psi. But there are a lot of times the GM fuel pump is bad, and it'll pump enough pressure to show you 48 psi, but it has no reserve, and that vehicle will not crank right, it will not run right. So you want operating pressure according to specs, deadhead pressure, and then last, Pat, residual pressure. And residual pressure means you turn the key off and you look at the gauge and it falls from 50 to 25 and it stays there. Stays there. Like 10 minutes, you still have 15 psi. But if you've got 50 psi pressure, turn the key off and it goes zip to 0, like you would a spigot with the water, something's wrong, because you must have residual pressure in there. And so that's my 3 advice to you. Write it down. Have a professional run this 3-phase fuel pressure test. Oh, I'm sorry. Add one more, fuel flow. So that's 4-phase. But fuel flow is a maximum flow. But fuel flow is not necessarily your problem, because you don't have a performance driving down the road. You got an initial startup problem, which leads me to believe you have a residual check valve or pressure regulator or fuel pump problem. Anyway, good luck. Thank you for calling from Nebraska. We'll take another call from Mark. Mark, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Bobby, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
I got a 350 Chevy that runs great.
Okay.
It's an older unit,
yes,
93. Perfectly maintained, what have you. I'm just thinking, I do a lot of high mileage trips. I've never had the alternator changed out. Never given me any problems. Still strong.
Right.
Still checks out okay. Is that something that you just, after a while, you just need to do it? It's 25 years old, you know?
Well, yeah. I'm torn there because, the old adage, if it ain't broke,
Yeah, exactly.
So, how many miles do you drive this car a year?
I probably, in the last few years, a little bit, probably 15,000 a year. Before that, it was very low mileage.
Right.
But the last 5 or 6 years, I put, some miles on it, and we're at about 160,000 now total miles on the vehicle.
Well, that's a hard question. I'm hesitant. How old is the battery, Mark?
Battery is a couple of years, and like I said, it always checks out fine. And I've got that little analog arm type of a gauge that lets you know what the voltage is for your alternator.
Right.
And it's always in the perfect spot. I know those factory gauges aren't that good, but it's always in the perfect spot.
Well, that's an indicator. Yeah, it's an indicator, and you know it just like a temperature gauge. You don't know whether it runs like 50% or 55 or 60, but you know where it has for most of its life, so you know when it's not right.
Well, let me ask you this way.
Well,
then.
anyway, but let me answer this question. I say run it and watch the gauge, because you're aware. And when you see a voltage issue, then address the issue. But I say let it run. And what's your next question?
Well, it just was dovetailing into that. If I'm on a trip, say, would that catastrophically go, or would it go down? And if I have the instruments or rather the accessories off, could I drive for 100 miles without one?
Exactly. Actually, I drove from Pensacola, Florida to Birmingham, and when I got to Birmingham, my alternator light came on, and it was an early model automobile. And then I drove all the way back to Pensacola with no alternator on my battery. Okay. And so if you have a good battery and you're not running a lot of accessories, you don't run the air conditioner, you don't run the, even a radio is okay. The problem with later model automobiles is you do have a lot of electronics, so you don't have the option to turn them off. And so you've got
that is exactly where I was leading with that. Is exactly. That you got the computer. 1993 it was kind of limited, but it is a computer.
Yeah.
And I wondered how much that would draw, and if you could do the 100-mile thing.
It's the fuel pump that draws. It's the fuel pump that draws. That's the only thing that really is significant. The computer takes little to no voltage to draw, but you do have injectors that have to work, and the challenge is low voltage can wreak havoc on an electrical system, low voltage, and especially when you start getting into the below 10 volts in the 9 volts, and then you start to crank the motor and it won't. Then you start destroying other things. So I say to you, run the alternator, but I would say that you could drive easily 100 miles, except at night. You could drive easily 100 miles with the battery only power, as long as the alternator doesn't physically destroy and tear the belt up. We're talking about voltage charging. Hey, Mark, thanks for your call, folks. I'm going to take your calls, Kevin and Captain Jim, when I come back.
Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car's battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. So be sure to choose a battery with power frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with power frame to be there start after start. Here's another reason to feel good about choosing a battery with power frame inside. It's manufactured using the latest sustainable processes. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. So the next time you need to replace your car's battery, make sure you choose one with power frame technology inside. Look for power frame on the outside and know there's true strength on the inside.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease, and she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car. Thanks for tuning in today. It's just been a really, really great program. Let's go to Las Vegas, Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, as they say, and take a call from our great friend, Captain Jim Maley. Captain Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house today.
Well, good morning, Bobby. It's great to be here.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I've been doing just fine. Been doing a lot of traveling in the motorhome, so I've missed a few of your shows, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes. But I'll be home for a while, so I'm listening.
Well, that's good to have you. What can I do for you this morning? Any thoughts?
Well, I've been seeing that new Jag SUV, the Pace, I think they call it.
F-Pace?
And, yeah, I was just wondering what you think of it.
Well, I have not driven one, but I know the running gear in those vehicles, and I can only answer that between the two of us this way. In 2013, I spec'd out a specially made Jag, and I now have 55,000 miles on it. I took delivery in November of 2012. It's a 13 model, and I love the car. I drive it daily. I have had a few issues. A water pump that they changed the design on, but it took them 10 years to do it, because they came out with this engine, in that car in 2010, and it was in 2017. Well, it took them 7 years. It took them 7 years before they changed the design. So I had a water pump, but you wouldn't have to worry about that because that's already been done. I had some rear suspension boots, not the suspension parts, but the boots that protect the joints that deteriorated, I say prematurely. And so Johnny, our master ASE lead tech and shop foreman, replaced those links on the back of my car. I've had some rotor problems, left front rotor problem, and let's see. But overall, the vehicle has met my expectations and is the quietest, biggest bang for the buck of any car I've ever owned. And I specifically wanted a quiet luxury car. So I'll give my car that credit. I'll also give my team that credit because we're on that car, as you might suspect, every day. I look for things that don't work, and every time I get in that car, I work the electronics. I work the sunroof, I work the dual shades, I work the back, I work all those things, and when something quits working, I know it immediately because I don't want to get behind on the car because, it's a Jag, and you never want to get behind on a Jag. My thoughts about the newer Jag is that when Tata bought that company, Ratan Tata, in 2009 from Ford, he wrote a carte blanche check and said, make a new car, and they did, and I would have no reservations about buying a new one. I wouldn't consider buying a new XJL like mine because I'd have to spend $25,000 more to get my car because they haven't changed the car. I'm waiting on the new design four-door luxury, but as far as the SUV, I think it's one of the most outstanding. It's a beautiful car, but I think it's the most outstanding vehicle. And to have a new car that very few other people have, and to personalize that new car is sort of my hot button. So I would have no reservations but in recommending that car.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to hear. I kind of like the look of it. I have a Ford Explorer now.
Right.
And when we bought it, I made sure it had all the bells and whistles.
Sure.
And in fact, it's smarter than I am. I haven't learned everything yet. It's a 13. I still find new stuff on it.
Well,
but,
when you get the Jag,
I like the
I
like the look of the Jag.
When you get the Jag,
all.
that's going to be your job. And just to share with you, of course, my car had all of the options save one, and that was a radar cruise control, and only because I didn't know any better. If I could do it over again, I would have added that last option. but it was $2,500, and it had cruise control. And I said, well, I'm not paying $2,500 extra for the right to follow somebody along the road. That was my bad, because that's from a safety standpoint and from a relaxation standpoint. Those crews that latch onto the car in front and brake automatically, that's the name of the game, and they are fantastic. But that's that's in hindsight. So here's what I would say to you. Given as anal as I can be about my car, it took me 2 months to go through the owner's manual, which is 218 pages, and I would sit in my kitchen at home at night and read, and then when I would see something that I didn't know, I'd go out in my garage and operate that. It took me 2 months to do that, but it made me enabled me, not that's the word, it enabled me to enjoy all of the electronics that my car has. And the only reason that I would think of buying a new one is because I'd want more electronics, because they work and they make cars safer and smoother and more enjoyable than ever before. So that's my thought. And should you decide to buy this and you need my assistance or just want my opinion, you go online to jagusa and build one. I'd be honored to help you choose the options, because there are certain things that you really need that are just way cool and you really enjoy. The sound system, if you're into sound system, mine has a Meridian 17-speaker sound system that I absolutely love. And when I get in other cars, I say, well, what is this? Turn it up or whatever. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents. Okay?
Well, I do appreciate it. Yeah, I'll let you know what happens on that.
Okay, I appreciate you, and best of health to you, and take care.
Okay, I'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, let's go from Nevada to Texas. David in Texas, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. What can I do for you?
I was telling your screener about the same problem I was having with the battery negative cable.
Yes, sir.
That goes to the block.
Right.
I had a brand new or a rebuilt Jasper engine put in my Bonneville, and the guy grabbed the wrong bolt to put the cable in.
Oh.
It was like a millimeter too long.
Yeah, it bottomed out.
It bottomed out.
Wow.
And the guy goes, "Oh, torque's there, okay." But you can still swing the electrical connection on the bolt. It wasn't compressing it at all.
Yeah. Well,
So,
funny
one of
you
the
should say
things to
that.
look for.
We had a Subaru that belonged to a great customer. He had 3 or 4 Subarus. People that drive Subarus don't have just one. They have a fleet of them. I think there is true love with a Subaru, as they advertise. But someone had put a clutch in the car, and the transaxle bolt was too long, and it crushed a little bit the negative cable. But over time, and over the resistance of having to crank that engine, the cable turned charcoal gray, from that corrosion factor and that overheating and what have you. And at times it would not start, and you would swear it's a bad battery or a bad starter, and just by the time you say, I'm going to put it in, it would start and run. And then I actually drove this car about 20 miles with a scanner hooked to it, which is dangerous because I was looking at the scanner and the highway at the same time. I should have taken one of my guides with me, but I didn't. Anyway, the bottom line, it too had the same problem, and grounds are the nemesis of electronic systems in today's cars. Poor grounds are. I'm telling you. So, David, thanks for sharing that with us. Was that your car? You still have it?
Yes, sir. 217,000 miles on it and still going.
And how's the Jasper engine working for you?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It is great. I mean, they drain the oil out and it's clear after running for, was it 2,500 miles or something?
Yeah, right. Well, we just put a Jasper engine in an F-150 for a local company, Moore's Assets, actually, and I'll tell you, it ran so quietly. I was standing on the vehicle when the technician after he'd fired it, and he was checking the transmission fluid, and I didn't know, and I had my ears, I had my computer ears on. I didn't know the engine was running. It was that quiet. And one thing I like about Jasper, and I'll give them just a free plug here. When they remanufacture an engine, a remanufactured engine means that all the touching surfaces are made to original specifications. Not only do they fix an old engine, they update it. So if you've got an 09 vehicle and you got to put an engine in it, it has a 2018 specs and the improvements, like Ford and the 5.4 engines with all that timing chain and tensioners and all that, the bad ideas that weren't good ideas that showed their ugly self over time. Jasper fixes all that, and as they should, but they run. I've been there to Jasper, Indiana, and been through their plant, and it's been years ago. They've got a new plant now. Hey, David, got to go. Thanks for your call, and thanks for sharing that sort of same information from the caller from last hour.
If it helps somebody, it'll be worth it.
It will be. It will be.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take another call from Texas. Well, another one from Texas. Kevin, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby, how are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm old, fat, and gray, but I'm happy.
What can I do for you?
Well, what I called about was actually two things. Number one is I was going to call last week, and we're an hour behind you, so I couldn't.
Right.
But the gentleman that called about the '98 Lincoln, it said premium unleaded fuel recommended.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really blow your mind. When I was going to Texas State Technical College in Waco, Texas, I bought a '92 Lexus SC400, first year of production.
Right.
Had 160,000 miles on it.
Right.
It had premium unleaded fuel only.
Right.
Premium unleaded only on the fuel gauge on the dash.
Right.
And this was my first semester there, so I was going to be smart and try to use cheaper fuel.
Right.
I tried regular. No. I actually couldn't get premium where I was at. I needed fuel.
Right.
So I went to the next town and put unleaded plus in it. That car ran horrible. It's 4.0 liter. And how I had to cure that car is I put 3 cans of 104 octane booster in it.
Right.
Plus a can of Berryman's B12.
Wow.
And filled it and topped it off with premium unleaded, and it cured it. Because I imagine it had enough octane to probably blow fire out the tailpipe.
Yeah, I hear you.
I love that car. That sucker. I learned how to that sucker would fly.
Right. Well, I appreciate you.
We're talking 92 model.
Yeah, I had for your information, and I'm short on time here, Kevin. I had and bought a '94 SC400 as well, and 2-door, and in it was one of the most perfect cars I've ever driven. And it was also one of the most boring cars I've ever driven. And it was a 2-door coupe. And it was beautiful, and it just did everything perfectly, but it was like it was all fixed. I mean the computer controlled everything, and really couldn't modify it. So yours truly didn't. I leased that car, kept it a year and a half, and I had to pay to get out of the lease. But that's another story. Anyway, gotta go. Thank you for your call, and I know you have some other information, but if you would please let's get back together next week or so.
Yeah, I'll get back with you next week.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
Aluminum.
All right, thanks. Take care. And folks, Kevin made a good point, but understand this: you can use low octane in a high octane fuel car. I've said that many times. You will not have the high performance, but it shouldn't affect the running of the car. It did in his case, but that was a '92 model. That's been years ago when you think about it. So let's get back to basics and let's get to where we are today. Back to school. And the back to school season is right here, which means that your vehicles will have to start working overtime. And our partners, the Car Care Council, have released a really informative new video that will help you get your vehicle ready for carpools and play dates and soccer games and more this fall. So, as Rich White, who is the executive director of Car Care Council, says, back to school time is hectic for most families, but scheduling a complete vehicle inspection is time well spent. I couldn't agree more, Rich. Rich also goes on to say, the Car Care Council's new video provides valuable maintenance and safety tips that'll help keep your vehicle running safely and efficiently all through the school year. And here's the cool thing about it. This is a video that discusses the 5-point checkup that should be performed on your car before the start of the school year. And I'll run through the 5 points. Check the lights and wipers, a complete brake inspection, the tires for inflation and excessive wear, check the seat belts and car seats, make sure they're fitted properly, and consider installing a backup detection device. That's great advice. And you can view the video at the Car Care Tips Automotive channel on YouTube. And for you shop owners out there, this video is also available for your ANTI digital management systems for viewing in a customer lounge. And for more information, you can go to AutoNetTV.com or carcare.org. That's carcare.org. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Berryman's B12 Chem Tool features HEST, or High Energy Solvent Technology. Helps maximize one-tank cleanup of intake valves, fuel injectors, and combustion chambers. But don't take our word for it. Gary's Mercury Sable was just running awful and throwing trouble codes. A local technician said it might cost as much as $600. So first, Gary tried Berryman B12 Chem Tool Fuel Additive, and now it runs like new with no trouble codes. Learn more about Berryman products and their HEST technology at berrymanproducts.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Ricey Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning.